It's Sunday night, almost 9 o'clock. You're under the blanket, phone in hand, and out of nowhere, you feel it. That small, heavy drop in your stomach. Not panic, just dread. The quiet, familiar kind. Tomorrow is Monday. I know that feeling. I've felt it more Sundays than I can count, lying there, doing the math in my head, wondering why something that isn't even bad can still feel this heavy. And here's the part nobody really says out loud. Your job isn't terrible. Your boss isn't a monster. The paycheck covers the rent. Nothing is technically wrong. So why does it still feel like something is? You start doing math nobody asked you to do. 40, sometimes 50 hours a week. Years of your one, only life handed over to a building that doesn't know your name, your birthday, or what keeps you up at night. And somewhere along the way, we were taught that if we're giving that much of ourselves to something, it should feel like love. So when it doesn't, when it's just a job, some part of you starts wondering, what's wrong with me? But I want to tell you something gently. Nothing is wrong with you. Maybe something is wrong with the question itself. We're all the same. Somewhere between childhood and our first paycheck, most of us picked up the same quiet idea. Do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. Find your passion. Chase your purpose. Build a career that makes you feel alive, even on a Monday morning. It cannot be denied that it's a beautiful idea. And honestly, I think that's what makes it so easy to believe. But for a lot of us, it quietly changes what a job is supposed to mean. A job stops being just a way to make a living. It becomes a verdict, proof that you're doing life right. If your work lights you up, you're winning. And if it doesn't, you start keeping this private little scorecard in your head. Everyone else found their thing. I just found a paycheck. Let's take Jake, for example. Jake actually went for it. At 28, he left a safe office job and became a full-time photographer, the thing he loved more than anything. And for a while, it felt like he had finally figured life out. But 3 years later, he wasn't staying up late editing beautiful sunsets. He was lying awake, doing the math, wondering if he could afford his own health insurance. The passion was still there. That was never the problem. It had just been asked to do something it was never meant to do. Pay the bills. And once the thing you love has to keep you financially afloat, something changes. Even photography, the thing Jake once chose freely, started to feel like a boss he could never clock out from. It's a beautiful story when it works, but sometimes the people telling it got incredibly lucky, or at least lucky enough to make a living from the thing they loved. And the rest of us are left wondering why our own lives don't look like that. Well, the truth is, most people throughout history never expected their work to make them happy. They expected it to feed them, to keep a roof over their heads, to give their families some measure of safety. And somehow, they still built lives full of love, laughter, friendships, and meaning. Just not necessarily between 9 and 5. Maybe that's what we forgot. We didn't inherit their simplicity. We inherited the guilt that came after it. And now we think a job has to fulfill us, when sometimes it only needs to support the life that does. So maybe it's time to let go of the old question, does my job make me happy? And look at it a little differently. Picture your job as a bridge. Not the destination, not the view, just a bridge. Well, maybe a little worn down from all the people who've crossed it before you. Its job is pretty simple, to get you from one side to the other. Nobody stands in the middle of a bridge at sunset and thinks, I could live here forever. Nobody falls in love with a bridge. You don't decorate it. You don't bring your kids there to make memories. And that's okay, because that was never what it was built for. On the other side is a town, And that's where your actual life is. It's the people you love, the lazy Saturday mornings, the trip you've been putting off for years, the freedom to finally say no to something that scares you because you've got enough savings behind you. It's being able to help your mom when she needs it without your hands shaking as you check your bank account. It's coming home to an apartment that doesn't make your chest tighten every time the first of the month comes around. That's the part we sometimes forget. In fact, your salary was never supposed to be the happiness. It was supposed to help you get there. Just think about Mara. She works the overnight shift at a distribution warehouse, and pretty sure nobody would look at her job and call it a dream. Obviously, she probably wouldn't either. But every paycheck is quietly becoming something else. Her daughter's braces, a used Honda that finally starts on the first try, a Christmas where nobody has to choose between presents and the electric bill. Mara doesn't love the warehouse. She loves what the warehouse is helping her build 3 miles down the road. A little house with a porch light that's always on for her. And honestly, I don't think that's a smaller story than Jake's. It might actually be the smarter one. Because here's the mistake so many of us make without realizing it. We stand in the middle of the bridge, exhausted, staring down at the water, wondering, why doesn't this feel like home? But it was never supposed to. The bridge doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to inspire you. It just has to hold your weight long enough to get you somewhere better. And sometimes, that's more than enough. Okay, just let that sit for a second, because honestly, I think it might take a little weight off your chest. To be fair, you're allowed to have a job that is simply fine. It doesn't have to thrill you. It doesn't have to fulfill some deep part of your soul. It can just be a place you show up, do good work, get paid fairly, and go home. And that doesn't mean you're living a smaller life. It doesn't mean you've given up. And it certainly doesn't mean there's some quiet tragedy unfolding every Monday through Friday. You don't owe your employer your happiness. They owe you a fair wage for your time, your effort, and the work you agreed to do. That's the deal. Meaning, fulfillment, identity, purpose, those were never actually part of the contract. They just started to feel like they were, because somewhere along the way, we were handed a different version of what work was supposed to mean. But maybe the question was never, does my job make me happy? Maybe it was always, does the life my job is paying for make me happy? Those are two completely different report cards. You can hate the bridge and still love the town on the other side. You can spend 8 hours doing work that bores you senseless, then clock out, drive home, sit down at a dinner table with people you love, and suddenly, the whole day feels worth it. That isn't a contradiction. That might actually be the point. Because your job doesn't have to be the destination. Sometimes, it just has to get you there. So the next time you're lying awake on a Sunday night, dreading the morning, and your mind starts racing, I need a passion. I need a purpose. Maybe I need to blow up my whole life and start over. Before you do any of that, ask yourself something smaller, and maybe a little more honest. Is the toll I'm collecting actually buying me a town I'd want to live in? Finally, here's something worth your considering doing tonight, before you fall asleep. Take out your phone, not to scroll, just to write, and ask yourself one question. What is my paycheck actually for? Not what you spend it on by default, but what is it really for if you're paying attention? Maybe it's a little more peace of mind for your parents. Maybe it's your kid's college fund. Maybe it's the freedom to finally leave a situation you couldn't afford to leave before. Or maybe it's 6 months of runway, enough space to finally build the thing you only dare to whisper about at 1 a.m. Write down 3. Just 3. Not the ones that sound impressive on a resume, the ones that actually matter to you. Because once you know what's waiting for you on the other side of that bridge, something quietly changes. The bridge doesn't have to become beautiful. You don't have to love the commute. You don't have to find meaning in every mile. You just cross it. You collect your toll, and then you can go build a life in the town that's actually, finally, yours. Monday is still Monday, but somehow, it gets a little lighter when you understand what you're crossing it for. So ultimately, if this video has sparked a new awareness or perspective regarding your life and current work, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, okay? Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos.